Hey guys, LastOne here, and I'm bringing you a Arms Warrior guide for a change. I've been getting a lot of questions on how to play Warrior on stream and stuff like that, so I figured I'd go ahead and talk to you about the talents that I choose, the reason why I choose them over certain ones, and the way you should be using them instead of arenas and PvP. Alright, so let's get right into it. Right now, these are the talents I'm running for arenas and battlegrounds, just PvP in general, really. I'll talk about them just like I did in my Retribution Paladin guide, and go row by row, explain why I choose certain ones over others. So let's go ahead and go into the level 15 talents. Alright, so going into level 15 talents, we have Dauntless, we have Overpower, and Sweeping Strikes. Now, we're going to talk about Dauntless first. Dauntless is a passive ability that costs 20% less rage on rage cost abilities. So, for example, Mortal Strike costs 20 rage, and 20% of 20 is 4. So, it would only cost 16 rage. You see how it's not like a huge upbringing or any sort of like major improvement in general. I really feel like it's a waste. I mean, like Slam would be 16. What else? Execute would be 8. I mean, it's just it's not worth it. It really isn't. Whereas Overpower is insane. Not only is Overpower an extra move, it's also an unavoidable move. That means you can't dodge it, you can't parry it. It's a legit 100% will always hit move. Um, the only way it wouldn't hit is if they have physical immunity, and that's really the only counter to it. On top of that, it has a 60% chance to critically strike, and you have a chance to reset the cooldown and just have an instant cast Overpower, which is insane. So this is just like the best move overall for the level 15 tree. Now let's go ahead and talk about Sweeping Strikes. Sweeping Strikes really isn't the way it used to be. It used to make all your abilities cleave as long as you were damaging. Um, Now it's only applied to Mortal Strike and Execute, and it only hits a second target. So you can kind of see why we don't take this. I mean, Mortal Strike being something with regular rotation, I mean, yes, I guess you can get the debuff on 2 people, but is it really worth it? I mean, in 2s you'd probably break CC, like if you're playing with a mage or a rogue and they're blind or sheep or something like that, even like saps and stuff, it's just not good, really. And the Execute, in order to hit another person, they both, I mean, one of them has to be low and the other one has to be next to the target, so it's a bad choice. Moving on to the level 30 talents, we have Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Double Time, and these are all pretty good. Shockwave is definitely good if you're doing Battlegrounds or if you're going against something like the Demonology Warlock or even the Beast Hunter. Anything that I mean, like even a Mage if they're running a mirrored image, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's so good. It's a cone. That's the only drawback. It's a cone instead of like a ranged stun that you get from Stormbolt. But if you hit up to 3 targets, it reduces the cooldown by 20 seconds. And I think that's amazing. It's a 4-second CC too. So definitely you swap between these two at any given time. Keep in mind that if you are using it for single target use only, it is a 40-second stun as opposed to a 30-second stun. And we're going to go ahead and talk about Stormbolt right now since we're already hovered over it. Stormbolt is a ranged CC ability that stuns for 4 seconds, which is insane, on a 30-second cooldown, so you can do it twice every minute. It does more damage than Shockwave, as you can see. It does double the damage, actually, which is insane. On top of that, you can wire it to a focus macro where you can toss it on your focus target. Like, for example, we'll set this guy as our focus, and you see, he's right here. If we're targeting this guy and we hit our focus macro, it tosses it to that target, and you can see he's stunned. So I mean, it's really good for control. I really like using this personally for arenas over Shockwave most of the time. So, you know, this is something to keep in mind. Double Time, what it does is it gives you an extra chance to charge someone, and it also reduces the cooldown of charge by 3 seconds. So you get two chances to charge someone. So I mean, like, I guess if you're going against a hunter, he disengages, a mage blinks. You could do that, but you gotta remember you're giving up CC for those. Um, so it's up to you on this one. I mean, if you're running the two-piece warrior set, you get a instant crit on your mortal strike by 50%. So I mean, I guess you get 2 chances to get a big mortal, but still, the CC is way better. I would never turn that down. Alright, for the level 45 talent, we have Fervor Battle, we have Rend, and Avatar. Fervor, I think, is really, really bad. Or at least the worst case, the worst option in this spree of talents. Whirlwind will deal 30% increased damage to the primary target, so the person that you're basically on. And although that might be alright for maybe like PvE or something, if you're doing cleave or whatever, I don't really see much use in it. Especially since this also gives you a chance to break CC. If, like I said, like same thing with sweeping strikes. It's not good. Rend, it could be used. It's a dot. That means if you're using it on rogues or anything, they won't be able to stealth. But it does cost 15 rage, so it's another rage spender. It lasts 15 seconds, which is pretty good, and it does really decent damage over time. But if we look at Avatar, Avatar is on a 1.5 minute cooldown. It's essentially a really good burst that lasts 20 seconds, causing you to deal 20% increased damage and removing all roots and snares. And this is important because just like Retribution Paladins, Arms Warriors do not have the best mobility. Yes, we have Charge, yes, we have Heroic Leap, and yes, we do have baseline Blade Storm, which does get us out of snares and stuff like that. But honestly, you're going to find a lot of times where even with this talent, you're going to be feeling like you can't do much. Because once you pop it, it's not like you're immune to slows or CCs. It's just going to break it initially. So, on top of that, I mean, the 20% increased damage, it lets you do some nasty bursts. So we're totally going with Avatar. You could try Rend if you want to, but for this build that I run Avatar. For the level 60 talents, we have a couple of interesting ones. We have Second Wind, which restores 7% health every 1 second when you're not taking damage for 5 seconds. So if you pair that with maybe Fear, like after you get a trinket, because this does CC for 8 seconds if you get it full, 21% of your HP back because of the 3 seconds. That's just, you know, in a perfect world scenario. Honestly, I haven't really found much use for this, especially in arenas, because even as a Night Elf with Shadow Meld, with all the bleeds and dots from Affliction Warlocks, because you see them a lot lately, I don't really see a lot of times where this actually kicks in for me. I've tested it plenty of times in arenas, and it's on a rare chance that I actually get the healing from it. Bounding Stride, basically once you use your Heroic Leap, you get a small speed boost for 3 seconds for 70%. It also reduces the cooldown of Heroic Leap, and Heroic Leap's on 45-second cooldown, so with the 15 seconds, it's every half minute, yeah. Which is pretty good on its own. But Defensive Stance is the one I like to run. It's run off of cooldown, but I'll explain this, because I've seen a lot of people really confused about this. When you activate it, it reduces all damage you take by 20%, which is pretty good. It's really, it makes you a lot more durable, more chances to get the kill, but the drawback to it is that you deal 10% reduced damage. So, regardless, like, without really having to say it, you totally see how it has to be one of those toggle abilities. Like, I'll show you how it looks like when it's toggled on. When it's toggled on, you get this buff right here. 20% reduced damage taken and 10% reduced damage dealt. We're going to go ahead and move on to the level 75 talents, and we have In for the Kill, Mortal Combo, and Focus Rage. Alright, In for the Kill, Mortal Strike generates 20 rage when used against targets that are below 20% HP. See, I guess the way they try to set this up is so that you can get more executes off on a target, or you could get the execute off, rather. Honestly though, when you see what it's stacked up against, you're going to see it's not the best. I mean, Maybe for PvE, even then, I think it's just a poorly designed talent to throw into the mix of an armed warrior. Okay, guys, moving on to Mortal Combo. Your Mortal Strike's gonna have 2 charges, which is really good because normally when you don't, you can only use it every 5.68 seconds for me in this case. But it's really good. I mean, like, you get 2 chances to use your biggest damage dealing ability. And on top of that, you can apply a debuff to both targets if you need to, because the debuff does reduce the healing they receive. Focus Rage is another one you could take in this talent tree. With Focus Rage, it'll increase the damage done by your Mortal Strike after you ramp it up, and the maximum amount of charges you could ramp it up by is 3. I will show you the difference between a normal Mortal Strike and then a buffed up Mortal Strike. So a regular Mortal Strike will hit normally for 17k, around 18k for me. So we're going to go ahead and build up some Rage, and go ahead and see how much damage we can actually get out of this. So we're going to go ahead and use 1 charge, 2 charge, 3 charge, and with the charge, we're going to get a buff for a Mortal Strike and 80k. We have an 80k Mortal Strike as opposed to an 18k Mortal Strike. So the only drawback I really see to this talent is that you're going to have to ramp up a bit. You're going to have to give yourself time to build up some Rage, and then, you know, unleash a big chunk of damage. But you got to keep in mind that I did use the 2-piece charge critical strike Mortal, which means that I did have to have Mortal Strike. I did have to have charge on off cooldown and then hit him with it. So I mean, again, it's just a lot of setup. If you really if you're looking for, if you're one of those players that enjoys having to set up a lot to get the most out of your damage, then by all means go for it. It's not a bad choice. It's actually a really good choice. I mean, you could do some nasty bursts with it if you wanted to. But for me, Mortal Combo has been insane. I mean, it's helped me get kills. I've got more consistent damage out there, and I mean, you know, I don't have to worry about Rage Dump as much on my other abilities. So moving on to the level 90 talents, we have Deadly Calm, we have Trauma, and we have Titanic Might. Deadly Calm is really good because with Battle Cry, I think that's what it's called now.
Yeah, Battle Cry.
With Battle Cry, once you have it on the entire duration, your abilities are free cost of Rage. So I mean, you could spam whatever the hell you want. And honestly, it's pretty good. The only reason I don't choose it personally, and I'll go over it once I start talking about Trauma, is because I feel like it's really good with Focus Rage, especially like if you wanted to run a different build or something similar. It's just with Focus Rage, it'd definitely be this route. Maybe even with Anger Management too, so you can keep as much Rage as possible consistently. But with Deadly Calm, yeah, you have potential like Spree of Burst, which is really good for the entire duration. Only drawback is if you get kited, but even then you can work on your positioning and you choose when you burst. So I mean, it's no biggie. Moving on to Trauma. Trauma, your Slam and Whirlwind now cause target to bleed for 20% additional damage over 6 seconds. Multiple uses accumulate increased damage. So because you know your filler moves are definitely going to be Slam and Whirlwind when you're not using Overpower, reapplying your Colossal Smash, or using your Mortal Strikes, I feel like you get a ton of damage off of Trauma. I mean, just Slam and Whirlwind being able to bleed someone, and then it just, like it says right here, it accumulates damage on multiple uses. Really good. It's really good. Like you can it's a free bleed. You don't have to take Red for it. I mean, you could pair it with Red and just get insane overtime damage on someone, but you'd lose the 20% increased damage that you normally would get. And on top of that, Avatar being on while you have Trauma stacks on someone, it would increase the amount of damage that your bleeds do to them off of Trauma. So just, you know, doing your normal rotation and having a regular bleed on someone consistently is really good. I really like this talent. With Titanic Might, Okay, so it increases duration of your Colossal Smash by 16%, but the effectiveness is reduced by 20%. And with Arms Warriors in Legion, um, they're very similar to Retribution Paladins in that with Judgment we deal extra damage for Retributions, but with Colossal Smash we deal a ton of more damage with Arms Warriors. So reducing the effectiveness by 20% just for it to have an extended duration, it's really not the most ideal route of building your Arms Warrior, especially if you want to get kills and do as much damage as you can to a target. And on top of that, it's not like Titanic Might is going to be um, the only thing that affects your Colossal Smash. We have a passive actually called Tactician, where we have a small chance per rage spent to reset the cooldown on Colossal Smash. So it's not like we have problems keeping, or it's not like we have problems reapplying our Colossal Smash to our kill target. I mean, we have more than enough opportunity to do it, and the window that it normally lasts is 8 seconds. So I think that Titanic Might is definitely the worst choice in this tree by far. These two are very good though. Alright, so now let's go over the level 100 talents. Anger Management. Every 10 rage spent reduces the cooldown on Battle Cry by 1 second. Battle Cry is on a 1 minute cooldown actually. I'll show you that right here. Yeah, 1 minute cooldown. So just using, let's say, Mortal Strike that costs 20, and having 2 charges of it, just with that alone, we reduce it by 4 seconds if we use both charges of our Mortal Strike. So I mean, we have more opportunities to increase our critical strike damage with the buff. But Anger Management honestly doesn't have that many drawbacks. The only thing that I will say is that it doesn't do anything other than bring up your battle cry just a little bit sooner than it normally would while you're fighting. Opportunity Strikes though, I mean, once you see what Opportunity Strikes does, you're totally gonna see what I mean and why I take it over Anger Management. With Opportunity Strikes, your melee abilities have up to a 60% chance based on the target's missing health to trigger an extra attack that deals, for me, 14k damage physical. It's just an extra swing. It really, when you boil it down to bare minimum, it's really just that. So, like back in WoD, when combat rogues were combat rogues, they had a chance to proc an extra strike off mastery. And that's basically what we get as warriors now, based on target's missing health. So the reason I take Opportunity Strikes over the other 3, or the other 2 rather, in this talent tree is because of the fact that when you're consistently on someone and when you're just trying to get the kill with an arms warrior, getting the extra free swing in is a major help. It helps a ton when it comes to killing people and stuff like that, and it's just more damage. Like, it's just more pressure that you have on a person. And with that being said, it does help secure kills. So with Opportunity Strikes, I feel like it's honestly just an amazing choice out of the 3. Second best is definitely being Anger Management. I think Ravager is actually the worst out of these, and I will get to that, but with the clips I'm going to be inserting into this video of like duels and arenas and stuff like that, you're going to see Opportunity Strikes totally getting its worth out, and helping secure kills and stuff like that. The animation is going to be a little weird. It's essentially just like you'll see an extra hit go off. There we go. That's how it looks like. It's that little swing that you saw when my character was just standing still on auto attacks. You'll see it a lot more when you're on someone and you're going ham on them and stuff like that. But you're gonna see it coming in handy a lot more in those duel videos and the arena clips that I'm gonna be tossing in. Honestly, hands down, I'd recommend it. I really would. Just add these two, definitely Definitely goes one of these two though. At the end of the day, either one's a good choice, but for the build I run, I like running opportunities. Let's go ahead and talk about Ravager a little bit. First and foremost, you have to note that it will replace your Blade Storm. And Blade Storm being something that will get us out of snares, it will stop us from getting feared. Like, it just gets us out of CC in general if you time it right. You could use it as an immunity barrier, if not, you know, just an extra way to get damage and pressure to multiple targets. It's an instant cast as a 1 minute cooldown, as opposed to our Blade Storm being on a 1.5 minute cooldown, so its cooldown is less, but again, we lose that utility from it, and it's going to be in a stationary area, so there's no guarantee that you're going to get the full amount of damage off of your Ravager. With that being said, I feel like Ravager is more of a PvE talent, and if you guys would like to see a PvE build, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I will provide one. But this is for PvP, and for PvP, it's just not viable, in my honest opinion. With that being said, guys, that's all of the talents that I use, the reasons I choose certain ones over others, and I guess I'll end it by showing you a little bit of what I use as sort of like a weird rotation, and then, you know, just cut to the clips. Alright, so when I open up on the target, you're going to see Hamstring and Colossal Smash because of my macro. What you want to do as far as the rotation goes is for PvP, because you know that PvP rotations are going to be really hard to maintain under you know, just constant pressure from other people. So the priority is going to be Colossal Smash on the target at all times, and getting your Mortal Strike debuff on them at all times. With 2 charges, you should have no problem. Other than that, you want to be using your overpower procs whenever you get them, because of the fact that they're a free ability, they have a 60% chance to crit, and on top of that, they're unavoidable strikes. You want to use these as much as you can. Other than that, you spam your slams and your whirlwinds depending on what you need. You know, if you need to break someone out of stealth, whirlwind obviously, but always keep slam on them. And you're going to use that to apply your trauma stacks, which is going to be key to getting the kills and stuff like that. And that's basically rotation, guys. So I'll go ahead and cut to the clips. Hope you enjoyed. We about to turn it
turn it on.